फैक्टोरियल, फिबोनाची, मैट्रिक्स नहीं होगा, हाँ, सॉर्टिंग नहीं होगा, हाँ, एरे बट ना नहीं हो सकता. ओके चलो ठीक है. I'll start with the factorial. Okay, and side by side probably we might do some other program also related to the application of the factorial. What is the factorial? How do you define factorial? N factorial is, how do you define n factorial? N factorial is defined as n into n minus 1 factorial. This is called as when a function is defined in terms of itself, it is called as a recursive function. Recursive is you define the function in terms of itself. I am saying that n factorial is n into n minus 1 factorial. This cannot be the complete definition, because then I will ask you what is n minus 1 factorial, and you will say n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial. So you are answering in terms of the question only. In that case, you will have to have the terminal condition as 1 factorial is 1 or even 0 factorial is 1. So this will together define the complete function factorial. Any other recursive function? Can you define power as recursive function, x raised to n? As
x raised to n minus n.
you can define it as x into x raised to n minus 1. And then you will define something like x raised to 1 equal to x or x raised to 0 equal to 1. A recursive function. We can define it recursively. Otherwise, you could have told me n factorial as n into n minus 1 into n minus 2, etc. up to 2 into 1. Like you can tell me x raised to n as x into x into x into x n times. Any other recursive function? Any other recursive function that you may know of? No? You know any other recursive function? Jan, ठीक है. 2 are sufficient. How can we write a program for n factorial? Steps will be first step, accept n. Next, is this program require a counter? Yes, it requires a counter, or we can do without the counter also, like we have done it last time. So I can say that accept n, first step, it is going to be a product. Generally product is initialized to 1, sum is initialized to 0. Then you will say product equal to product into n. Next time you want to multiply by n minus 1. So n should be decremented. Decrement n. Then you want to again multiply. That step we already have. So we will be going back to step 3. And otherwise we will print product and then stop. What is the condition for going back? What will be condition for, there will be condition on n only? Yes. What will be that condition? You cannot have a condition less than, because n is decrementing. So it will be a condition till it becomes 1. Okay, so as long, if n is greater than 1, go back. Because then you are not multiplying by 1. That doesn't make any difference. Correctly speaking, stick to the definition of factorial. It says that n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 etc. up to 2 into 1. Whereas you are not multiplying by 1 in this case. We know that multiplication by 1 will not change the answer. But actually we should multiply by 1 and let n become 0. So as long as n is greater than 0 or n is greater than or equal to 1. So you are multiplying by 1 also and then stop it. Is it difficult? What is the drawback of this particular algorithm? The drawback that we have seen last time, once we find the factorial, we have lost the number. Where is the number? It has become 0. Okay, other option will be to use a separate counter except n. Step 2, product is equal to 1. Step 3, counter is equal to 1. Step 4, step 5, increment I. Whenever we say that we are going to use counter, it will be all. Whenever we say that we are incrementing a counter, it will be always initialized, some processing, increment the counter, and keep on doing this process how many times? N times. That means you will write a condition that if I is less than or equal to n, go to step 4, not initialization again. Then it will be the same step, print product. Stop. Question is what this should be. Initially I is 1, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 3, 4 up to n. Product equal to product into I. In this case, I am writing the definition of factorial as 1 into 2 into 3 etc. up to n. Just the difference. If you write the definition as n factorial equal to n into n minus 1 etc. up to 2 into 1, code will become like this. If it is 1 into 2 into 3, then the multiplication go in that sequence, should go in that sequence. First you multiply by 1, then by 2, then by 3, then by 4, like that. Both of them are okay. Advantage over here is I am not losing n. Here n becomes 0. Both of them are containing the same value of the factorial. Okay? Right? Make a note. Come in, come in. कुठला रे? Vacation from Monday 1 o'clock 1 to 4. Fee is to be paid on Monday itself, 5,000. 1 to 4 and bring sketchbook also. तू सांगशील ना? हां. Anybody has any logical problem into it? Generally you can write it rather than reading it and then writing it. Accept n, product equal to 1, product equal to product into n, decrement n. If n is greater than or equal to 1, go back to multiplication, otherwise print product, stop. In the second case, accept n, initialize product to 1, initialize counter to 1, multiply product by the counter, increment the counter. If counter is less than or equal to n, go to multiplication, otherwise print product, stop. The algorithm can be easily converted to program, hardly anything. Second algorithm, I will be leaving it to you. A reverse jump I have converted to do while. That is what we have done. The loop which is the bottom checking loop. Don't forget this ampersand sign. Okay, that is the only one statement where you will be using ampersand in the initial cases. Are we through? Next job. So factorial we have again written it in two ways. Okay, and there are two more ways which we will see afterwards. Next, to check whether a given number is prime. To check whether a given number is prime. What is a prime number? It is divisible only by itself. give a complete message. Enter the number to check whether prime, so that user will come to know what for he is entering the value. We did not give the name n etc. because that n, m, a, b has got no meaning with respect to the user. With respect to the programmer, we are saying that n is the input data. Logically speaking, I should start dividing from 2. Every time checking whether the number is divisible. If number is divisible, it is not a prime. If it is not divisible by any number from 2 up to n minus 1, it will be prime. Now here I will be requiring one more variable called as flag or check. I will tell you the use of this also. I am using it as a counter, the one which is going to divide it. And I said that I will continue the process as long as I is less than n. When I say I is less than n, agar I will continue the process as long as I is less than n, means I will have the last value as n minus 1, not n. Okay. Obviously, being a loop, I will have to have I equal to I plus 1 somewhere. I will have to have I equal to I plus 1 somewhere for the safe exit. So when I say from 2 to n minus 1, I have done the necessary job over there. Now I am required to check whether I divides n. So I will be checking if. How do I check whether n is divisible by I? It will depend on the remainder. Remainder we check by ampersand. So if n% I is equal to 0, that means n is divisible by I, and I is any number from 2 to n. In that case, I will say that flag is equal to 0, and I will initialize flag to 1. What could be the use of this flag? Sometimes we say it is a flag. Sometimes we use the word check. Now if no number, just tell me, if no value of I divides n, so this condition will never become true. If this condition is never true, then flag will never become 0. In short, when I execute it fully, this flag value is going to tell me whether somebody has divided n or not. Because if somebody divides n, then flag will change to 0. Are you getting me? No? No. Okay, so chalo. First task, half of you have understood. What is the purpose? We want to check whether the number is divisible, is divided by somebody or not. Now somebody should keep the track for every number. Okay, so we keep on checking whether 2 divides, yes, no, 3 divides, yes, no. Actually, in fact, when you divide it, you will find some number, say 7, which is dividing n. Then in that case, you will stop the process and say that it is not a prime. Correct? But we cannot do that because we have already said that we will be dividing by every number. Now, if some number divides n, then I should have a check whether it has divided it or not. So I will go with the positive thinking, saying that none of these numbers divide n. So I say that flag is 1. If somebody divides, that flag will be set to 0. Like as if somebody has pointed out that it's not there. I start with the condition that yes, it is prime, saying flag equal to 1. Somewhere somebody changes this equal to, the correct sign, as it is as good as putting a cross over it. How? Changing the value of flag. I run this loop. I divide every time by 2, then by 3, then by 4, etc. up to n minus 1. When I come out, I just see whether my process is successful. How will I know that? If it is still correct, flag will remain 1. Flag remains 1 because nobody has divided. If somebody divides n, then flag will become 0. So outside this, there will be a single condition that if flag is still 1, number is prime. So such a thing we will always keep in our program. We keep on doing the job, and if something goes wrong, that value simply changes from 1 to 0. After completing the whole job, we will check whether my value has been preserved. If yes, chalo, job is done correctly. If no, that means something is going wrong. Such a thing is called as flag or check. Of course, it need not be every time same word. You can use P, Q also, but that could lead to some confusion while reading the program. So I will say flag equal to 1, printf %d is prime. Comma n. Else printf %d is not prime. Have you understood this? In this case, we have a drawback that even in between somebody divides n, I am still dividing by the next number and checking it. I will complete the process, but it is quite possible that we may say that stop it once somebody divides. How do we do that? We will do it in this way, saying that while I is less than n and flag is equal to 1 is equal to 1, if n% is equal to 0, flag equal to 0, I equal to I plus 1. So this while loop I am replacing by this. We have already seen the truth table saying that to execute the loop, both the conditions should be true. Right now initially flag is 1, so this condition is true. I is less than, fine, I divide. If the remainder is 0, then flag will be set to 0, otherwise I will be incremented. Now when some number divides I, flag will become 0. Flag becoming 0, we go back. I is still less than n, but flag equal to 1 is false. So I don't divide by the next number, because then the condition for executing this loop will become false. True, false is false. We come out, flag has already become 0, we will say not prime. Difference between these two, both will work, both will give the answer. But here, first number that divides n, we stop the division process. Here, even if the sum number divides n, suppose it is a even number, so very first time I will divide n, that is 2. And unnecessarily, suppose a number is like 122, how many times the division will take place? How many divisions we are performing here? How many divisions? 120. You are not dividing by 1, you are not dividing by 122. 120 divisions. But out of that, the very first division 2 itself will set flag to 0. Now what is the use of checking all the remaining numbers? This particular program will go on dividing by 3, then by 4, then by 5, etc. एक बार flag 0 हो गया, तो we are not setting it to 1 again. So it will remain 0, whether somebody else divides it or not. It will remain 0. And then after with these 120 divisions, we are saying that it is prime or not prime. are actually not prime. But here what will happen? Only one division, flag is 0, we go back, flag is 0, we come out. So we have saved as many as 119 divisions. Got it? Consider a prime. Consider a prime number. Can you tell me one prime number, 3 digit prime number? 121 is divisible by 11, prime. 123. 123 is divisible by 3. Divisible by 3. 127, sure? थ्री डिजिट चाहिए था, 2 डिजिट मुझे भी पता है. 111, it's divisible by 3. One number he has given, 127. Any objection on this? Any objection? It's not divisible by 2, odd hai. It's not divisible by 3, sum is 10. It cannot be divisible by 4. 5 ending is not 05. 6 हो ही नहीं सकता. 7 नहीं, 7 के 7 आणि 57 नहीं, 8 नहीं, 9 नहीं, 10 नहीं, 11 नहीं, 12 ज़रूरी नहीं है. 12 से आगे चेक करना ज़रूरी नहीं है. Can you tell me why? नहीं, I am saying 12 से, I am not going to check 13. I will reach 12 and say बस बहुत हो गया. अब तो ये हो ही नहीं सकता, अब तो ये प्राइम ही है. Now see, okay, think on it. 127 is prime. Here, how many divisions will take place? 125. Here, how many divisions will take place? 125. 125. Because flag is never becoming 0. So this condition is always true. So 125 times. So in the worst case, when it is prime, both are equivalent. But if it is not prime, this is effective. Got it? Should I make it more complicated? Same while loop. बाकी सब सेम. Even if you read it, you are through. I is less than n, that condition I am maintaining. If sometimes n% I becomes 0, condition will be false. We will come out. Condition will be false. It is not prime. If this condition is true, then first was already true. Second is true. We divide by the next. We keep on dividing by all. At one time, this condition will become false. Like you have reached 126, then I becomes 127. You come out over here. There is some little mistake. It's unnecessarily becoming more complicated. Anyway. Because what is happening is, last time when you have divided by 126, I am talking about the same number, 126 less than 127, true. 127 divided by 126 not equal to 0, true. That's why I will get incremented. It becomes n. 127. And then if I write here n% I, then it will be 127 by 127 and it will be 0. and you will say that it is not prime. That's why I had to say that ये increment हो चुका है, divide by the decrement. Or straight away say here, if I has become n, then how you have taken the exit? There are two ways to exit the loop, this being false or this being false. If this is false, then this must be true. अगर ये false हो गया करके आप बाहर आते हो loop से, तो this must be true. अगर ये true है, तो I equal to n will be false. It is not prime. But when you execute this loop fully and I reaches n, then I less than n is false. So when you come out, I will be equal to n. It simply means that you have divided by everybody. In that case, it must be prime. क्योंकि अगर कोई उसे डिवाइड करता था, तो we would have come out, and at that time I must be less than n. This is effective code. It is not using flag. Has got same power as this. बस इतने variations. Make a note. So the same program, I again am repeating the same thing. A program can be written in quite different ways. Somebody writing this code will be given say 13 or 14 out of 25. Somebody writing this code will get 16 or 17. Somebody writing this code will get 19 or 20 out of 25. That simply means that this is not still the best code. That is not the best code. We can still have a better code than that. If by chance in your college, if you have got some young staff members, freshers, to conduct your C practicals, then put these three programs and ask them, madam, which one is better? Better. You can have your own revision. And even you can check whether they can say that these are all valid, first of all. They might say that this is wrong, that is wrong, something like that. And this is not effective, that though I have already said. I said that even for that code I will be giving 19 out of 25. Reason is, let me show you some if you recall, I was just saying that For 127, I will try the division by 2, 3, etc. up to 12. That's it, and not beyond that. Whereas these codes are taking us up to 126. Now, what is this number 12? $199, is it prime? $199 is prime. Okay. In case of 199, I will go up to 15. Because the square before it is 196 and square after it is 225. This is 14 square. This is 15 square. Here it was 11 square, 121, 12 square, 144, number lies within that. From where did I get this information from? What could be the base? The base is over here, say. I consider number 200. 2 into 100, 4 into 50, 5 into 40, 10 into 20, and then 20 into 10. What is the use? If you have tried by these 4, you have already tried by these 4. Got it? So we generally go up to the square root plus 1 maximum. And that's why I said that this is not effective. You are going up to the number. Instead of that, you should have written it as a correction, I less than SQRT of n. And this SQRT is a library function available from math.h. You will have to include math.h. Then it will be effective. So one should go up to the square root. There are so many ways by which the program can be further improvised. Like I know that if the number is not divisible by 2, कोई भी even number तो prime हो ही नहीं सकता. Okay? Then what is the point in incrementing I by 1? Because every alternate number is not going to divide n. Are you getting me? I should have tried with division by 2, then 3, but never 4. Okay, it was not divisible by 2, so it cannot be divisible by 4. I should have tried 5, 7, 9 onwards. I would have reduced the divisions to half. But you are putting the increment as 1. So even this code will lead to 21 marks. You put it 2 and you make the greatest possible mistake, this program may fail. Because you are dividing only by even numbers in that case. You have started with 2 and incrementing it by 2. Okay, you cannot start with 1 because then again it will be always false. Because 1 is going to divide everyone. If you start with 3, then you are making another mistake. It could be even number which might come out to be prime. Take an example of 4. This program will say that 4 is prime because you are never testing by division by 2. It simply means that out of this I should cut division of 2 outside, and from 3 onwards I should divide in a loop. Okay, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 2 7, like that. That means this code should be certainly modified. I will keep it first, the original one, and it should be modified as, if we are using flag is equal to 1, if n% 2 is equal to 0, flag is equal to 0, else I equal to 3. So I am just checking whether it is even. If it is even, set flag to 0. No need to check further. If it is not 0, that means it is odd number. In that case, set I to 3, because now I have already divided by 2. Inside the loop I will divide by 3, 5, 7. Okay, and my condition over here will go like, while I is less than sqrt of n and flag is equal to 1, if n% I, if it is equal to 0, flag equal to 0, otherwise I equal to I plus 2. No doubt 4 lines have increased, but the effectiveness of the code, number of divisions that is taking place, have certainly reduced to half. First of all, we had cut down to the square root value and then to half of it. This code will certainly get 24, 25. No, not even 25, 24. Because still you are using flag. Still you are using flag. I want you to put this condition here, both उस तरह का चाहिए, this way, to get the full marks. I am just giving you a gauge. We can be right at the bottom of that ladder, where you can certainly pass, but that you will never be called as a good program. Got it? So this is still up to 80%. Write down only that part. As we are not writing any explanations here, you will have to keep the track or write it in side margin or write the comment. Here the comment should be, no even number can be prime. That is what the task we are doing here. Checking whether it is even. If it is even, it cannot be prime. And then we are saying here that divide only by by 3, 5, 7, etc. Interesting thing is, this particular program can be modified to print the factors of n or all the divisors of n, because I can simply put here printf I. So whenever the number divides n, I will print it, and I can give you all the divisors of n. Of course, finally I will say that it is not a prime. If I could print something, it is not a prime. Are you getting me? Just print n, but then a single statement can be there in if. If you have got one more print, then it should be curly brackets. Then you can print I, and you have printed all the divisors of n. as a little modification, make it less than or equal to. Because if it is 121, the program won't run. Because then I will go up to 9, and 9 plus 2, 11. 11 less than square root of 121 will be false. And you will say number is not prime. Or you will say number is prime, whereas it is not prime. So it should be less than or equal to. Last exercise, not last exercise, the exercise where I have given you the code, I have given you the input, you are required to give me the output. So you have got the output for the first one. What was that program for? It's a Fibonacci. 1, 1 are the first two. Fibonacci is defined as every new number is summation of previous two. So 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 13. So this is first, second. That's why counter starts from 2. When you print the third number, it becomes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21, 8. 21 plus 13, 34, 9. The 10th number that you will be printing is 55, 10, and you will stop. Output is the Fibonacci sequence up to n. This won't be printed, of course. Output will be simply this. Every number is summation of previous two. Summation of these two here. Summation of these two here. Summation of these two. It's Fibonacci. That was the third task that you had asked me. Prime, factorial, Fibonacci. So now you should try these programs in college if it is assignment. Because if you are not doing the extra work, at least do the regular work. एट पर्यंत येतो ना एका 55 पर्यंत ही कंडिशन चुकीची लिहिली T3 ला चेक केला असेल T3 लेस दॅन n केला ना आता त्यांनी सी देअर हिअर इट इज टू प्रिंट 10 टर्म्स n टर्म्स हा एक स्टेटमेंट झालं टू प्रिंट n टर्म्स ऑफ फिबोनाची दॅट इज द जॉब टू प्रिंट फिबोनाची सिक्वेन्स अप टू n इज दॅट प्रोग्राम If it is up to n, means up to 100 print all Fibonacci. In that case, I will put a check on T3. T3 less than 100. That's the only change. So the number to be printed should be always less than 100. Up to 100 Fibonacci sequence. And first 100 terms of Fibonacci. Then the output will be 100 terms. That's the difference, a minor change. How much is 5 factorial? Five factorial 120. 6 factorial 720. 7 factorial 5040. 8 factorial 40320. That should be the output, and we get that output. Okay. Only thing is, when you run the program, you won't get this output. Instead of that, the output that you will be getting will be slightly funny, because the integers have got a range. We have already said that integer will be 2 bytes, and the range of values is -32768 to +32767. That is the range of values which the variable can take, and your value is greater than that, and so it cannot give you value of 8 factorial, and 8 onwards it cannot give any value because it cannot be accommodated. But the question is, it will still give the output. Can you tell me the output? That's why the question was, guess the output. इनके तो मिल जाते हैं, ये नहीं मिलता. And for that you will have to do certain calculation, which you will have to try. If you have 32767 plus 1, if you just write a program for this, A equal to 32767, B equal to 1, if you add A and B, what is the output? Output should be 32768, but that is out of range. Instead, it gives the output as -32768. They are put in a circle actually. You must have learned something like 1's complement, 2's complement or not, but we will be discussing that afterwards. But here remember that this is one truth that you have. This plus this is -32768. So -32768 is as good as 1. अब आप मुझे बताओ कि what is the difference? 40320 minus 32767 you are adding this much value. You are adding so much value to 32767 plus 7553 to get 40320. But when you add 1, you get this value. बराबर है? So to this value, if you add 7552, you will get the output which the machine will give, and that is going to be -32768 plus 7552 is going to be 612. कितनी 25216 but minus. Are you getting the reason? So the value will come out to be negative, and there is a justification for that negative value also. So the question that you will obviously ask me, what is this? Should the integer be always within this range? Can't we increase the size? We can, and there is something called as long int, which will be a 4-byte data. And then in that case range will be much more than what we are showing. But then we will have to even see that everything should be declared as long int in that program. And then the question that arises is how to take the input as long integer and how to give the output as a long integer. Because %d stands as integer, %f stands for real. LD, AD, LD, LD, परसेंट LD से इनपुट लेना चाहिए, LD. And then it will show you 40320 also, and so on. Remember all this. One should not remember the calculation. Remember only this, that is more than sufficient. And remember that this cannot be printed. And so long int is not 2 bytes, int is 2 bytes. And long int will consume 4 bytes of memory. What are these two values, 32767 and 32768? कहाँ से मिले ये values? What are these values for? See, we have got 2 bytes. That means 2 into 8 bits. That gives us 16 bits. So it's going to be a 0-1 combination in 16 positions. Every position can take value 0 or 1. So it is 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, 16 times. So 2 raised to 16 arrangements of zeros and ones could exist. 2 raised to 16. We know that half of them are positive and half of them are negative. That means there are 2 raised to 15 positive numbers and 2 raised to 15 negative numbers. Positive numbers will be from 0 to some value. So 0 is treated as positive. So here also minus 32768 to minus 1 means minus 32768 negative values and 0 to 32767. So 0 to this will be 32768 positive values. You have got same number of positive and negative values because 0 is treated as positive. Okay, and then 2 raised to 15 comes out to be 32768. So 2 raised to 8 negative max, 2 raised to 15 comes out to be 32768, and 2 raised to 15 minus 1, that is 32767. This is the calculation behind it. And then why I am telling you this? So when it is a 4-byte data, it will be 4 into 8, 32 bits. So 2 raised to 31. Can you roughly tell me 2 raised to 31 means how many digits in decimal? In decimal. 2 raised to 31, I know that there will be 31 bits. We are going at odd speed. Okay, anyway. Any guesses? Probably next time we will have to revise all this. bit, byte, calculations, 1's complement, 2's complement. Ten. 2 raised to 30. This requires rather a mathematical background, I would say. 2 raised to 30 can be written as 2 raised to 10 bracket cube, and 2 raised to 10 is roughly 10 cube, na? 1024. So 10 cube ka cube, 10 raised to 9 must be 9 digits or more. Are you getting this calculation? And this 2 raised to 10 you call it as 1k. Okay, and then 1k into 1k will be 1 MB. 1 kilobyte into 1 kilobyte memory wise, it will be 1 MB, and 1 MB into 1 kilobyte, that is one question which I leave it to you. 1 MB into 1 MB is 1 GB, or 1 MB into 1 KB is 1 GB. In short, whether 10 raised to 9 is 1 GB or not, because this is reaching that value. Another calculation that I simply ask you, we have said earlier, probably in the first or second lecture, that every bit pattern is associated with some symbol, and there is something called as ASCII, the standardization. That is what we mentioned in the first lecture, and we said that there are 256 characters. Out of them, 104 or so are present on the keyboard. Remaining are present but are not present on the keyboard. They are still printable also, like the left corner, right corner, etc. That is what our discussion was. So if one character is going to consume 1 byte, can you tell me one Fullscape notebook that you are writing here, making some standardizations onto it, will consume how many bytes? And whether one Fullscape of data, one Fullscape notebook of data, can it be fitted in a single 1.44 floppy?